Good afternoon, everyone. Let me make a self-introduction, please. I'm Andrea Romeo, and I'm the Head of Environment and QHSE Audit at SNAM. I would like to thank George and the overall team of Management Force for organizing this event that now is, let's say, quite a routine appointment for me year by year. So I'm very glad to be here today moderating this panel since I spent a couple of years working on these topics, both in Albania and in Italy, working on building safety cultures in companies and launching projects related to safety culture. So basically today we will try to answer a couple of questions, very important questions, I would say, like what culture is, what do we consider culture, and if there is something different with safety culture. Is safety culture something that we, let's say, we can manage with tools or that we can measure, for example? And finally, I will, let's say, we will try to understand if culture can be shaped and eventually reshaped. And I have to say to Paolo to forgive me because I'm stalling, let's say, one of his statements. One question actually that he put to me, that is it enough just to start a new whatever name culture program to establish a new culture? As I love to say, there is not a right recipe to build safety culture, but we have many tools for doing this. And for sure, all these tools shall be custom fit and specific for the environment that we are considering. I don't want to steal more time to our speaker. Let me say that now we have Christina Alexandropoulou. She, let's say, has a curriculum full of responsibilities and roles and whatever. I can say simply that she has been identified as the top woman in security in Greece in 2020. She has been awarded with the GDS Group and the Gold Security Leader of the Year for 2021. And she's been recognized recently in London as #1 position in the IFSEC Security End User. Top influencer in security and fire for 2021. She is, among the other, the vice chair for the ACES International Legion chapter. Please, Christina, forgive me if we, let's say, we're not listing all the roles that you have covered along your career, but let's say it would take seriously a while to complete. We can say she is widely respected within the industry, and their insights shape the debate about the security issues. She deploys 20 years industry experience encompassing security, fire safety, loss prevention, crisis management, senior management and leadership in corporate institutions, and has participated in over 50 panels in the past years, acting also as a mentor for young female professionals. Currently, Christina is the Philip Morris International Southeast Europe Cluster Manager, Security and Market Safety. And now she will be presenting her presentation, Embracing Mental Health in Your Corporate Culture, that will focus on how mental health affects all the aspects of our life at home and at work. And in this presentation, she will be discussing about the power of vulnerability, how mental health impacts everyone and is part of our company culture, how to embrace mental health into our company security culture. And we will be discussing also about empathy, compassion, understanding, and action. Said that, let me say that at the end of this presentation, Christina, unfortunately, will leave us because she has the previous commitments. So we will gather all the Q&A session related to Christina at the end of this intro of this presentation. So please make all your questions in the chat, in the Zoom chat. And for the moment, Christina, the floor is yours.
Andrea, thank you so much. It's such a wonderful pleasure to be back here at the Safety Gala, the 15th Safety Gala. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me. Andrea, thank you for the introduction. And to the other colleagues that are also on this panel, thank you for the opportunity to talk about corporate culture, to talk about safety in our modern corporate culture, and to talk about an issue that is so dear to my heart, the issue of mental health. If I may take a minute before I kickstart this presentation, I want to thank my colleague from ASIS International, Mike Hurst, who delivered an outstanding presentation at GSX. And I'm using the most part of the corporate slides used at ASIS. And really touching upon this issue that is, as I said, so dear to my heart. So team, participants, panelists, everyone, do you know that mental disorders involve a significant disturbance in thinking, in emotional regulation, in behavior? And according to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 8 people in the world live with a mental disorder. Have you ever thought about this? Have you fathomed it? It's an outstanding opportunity today to be able to talk about this topic that, as I said, is so dear to my heart, and to be able to support. I'm hoping the presentation is proceeding. Can everybody see the presentation well? Andrea? Can you hear me?
Cristina, can
Yes.
you hear me? Okay. No, I
Yes.
was saying we cannot see any presentation for
Ah,
the moment. I don't know if you are sharing.
I am sharing. Let me. So it's our nice hiccups. Let me share again. Just give me a minute, Andrea. I'm sharing screen. Okie dokie.
Nope.
Share.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Now we got it. There we
Yes,
go.
we got it, but I think you should put it in the full frame.
This is the next. Just give me a second, Andrea.
Step by step. This is the nice thing of going live, let's say.
So this is exactly also what I said
We need to
about.
make some improvisation, but that's okay.
Just give me a second, please.
I think no one would blame us.
Definitely not. So on screen sharing, come on, PowerPoint, there we go. And now it's full view. Yes. Okie dokie. So
Here we are.
here we are. Thank you for that brief minute. Thank you, Andrea, and apologies to the participants. So as I said, according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 8 people in the world live with mental disorders, and in most cases, effective prevention and treatment options exist. Many employees are experiencing poor mental health and will struggle in their jobs and will cope by working harder and longer hours, sometimes even when they are unwell on their days off or during annual leave, when they should be resting. This is why today I have been asked, and I'm so happy to present and talk about mental health in our corporate culture. So, what am I? Who am I? I'm not going to go into this. Andrea gave a very big introduction in the beginning, and thank you so much for this. What I am not, hopefully, is an ultra-crebitarian. This is a term used in 1819, a person giving opinions and advice about things a person knows nothing about. So why am I doing this? Let's set the scene. So as I said, in 2020, Asia overtook Europe and North America to become the largest market for security services worldwide, valued at 37 billion US dollars. Europe was the second largest security service market, valued at $36 billion. So where private security outnumbers the police, we could see in China, India, amazing numbers, but just to see a little bit about the security industry and how private security really has grown in all these countries. So mental disorders involve, as I said, significant disturbances in thinking and emotional regulation, in behavior. There are many different types of mental disorders. Most people do not have access to effective care. And in most cases, as I said, effective prevention and treatment options do exist. To give a little bit of a background, when we talk about mental health, it's not shameful to say we don't really know what this means, right? We don't really understand what are these mental health disorders. So setting the scenes globally. Anxiety disorders, we have 301 million people that have been diagnosed. Depression, 280 million. Bipolar, 40 million. Schizophrenia, 24 million. Eating disorders, something that many times we don't consider to be a mental health issue, but it really is. Disruptive behavior and dissocial disorders, 40 million people. Neurodevelopmental disorders. This is like intellectual development, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, and PTSD, which is, as many of you know, very high conflict areas, settings, re-experiencing traumas and events, post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? So this is just a little bit of what we see and understand to be mental disorders in the US. Causes of stress. I'll go a little bit to talk about why are people getting stressed in the business, in the corporate culture. 81% are stressed by supply chain issues. Come on, guys. We all know with COVID, this is something that I think really knocked on our door as well. Supply chain, stress, really getting your things delivered on time, having challenges, issues. We choose to say that, we want you to leave the office and not take your worries with you. But look at this, 81% of the people in the main causes of stress really worry about these issues and they take them home with them. 87% stress due to rising inflation. What country cannot say that we are worried about inflation? I'm based in Greece, and I guarantee you this has been one of the huge stress factors, not only in the corporate culture, but in people and citizens of this country and in all of Eastern Europe, and why not all of Europe now? 80% due to possible Russian cyber attacks, nuclear threats to the US. This is, again, a statistic used for the US market. 69%, they fear that a World War III could break out. 65% stressed about money and the economy. And these numbers come from www.stress.org, okay? Now, cost. What is mental health costing the corporations, the industry? The UK, this is a great statistic. The UK Office for National Statistics Labor Force Survey has found that 17.5 million working days are due to mental health related sick absence. This is amazing. 17.5 million working days due to mental health related sickness. Who would have ever thought this? And guys, to be honest, before I saw the stats and the facts and the bibliography at the end, I really could not fathom this. According to the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, depression costs estimated 200 million lost work days each year at the costing at $44 billion to employers. Half of the employees with depression are untreated. And this has been a taboo, a big taboo in the past. Depression, employees diagnosed with depression, it's something that we didn't want to touch. Organizations did not want to even speak about it. In the past, I think that it would be safe to say that organizations would shy away from this knowledge and would rather the employee go home and deal with it. In 2019, a survey by Deloitte in Canada showed the actual economic cost because of these health issues was at 50 billion Canadian dollars. Employees with depression missed 6 to 25 more days of work per year, and their productivity is affected between 30 to 29% of their time at work. So, what do we understand? There are mental health security risks. Some excerpts from the Telegraph. UK police officers took a record of almost 500,000 days off because of mental ill health. New data has been received as a former watchdog blamed the trauma of dealing with the sick and dying during the pandemic. Amazing, amazing information and statistics. The number of days taken off because of mental ill health rose in the percentage in the year from 457,000 in 2020 to 497,154 in 2021. An increase in mental health problems amongst officers also was increased by 24 of the 37 police forces that responded to the requests. Again, Warwickshire Police recorded the steepest rise with 4,781 sick days mental ill health in 2021, up 68% from the previous years. Again, amazing statistics in the United States. In 64 cases out of the total of 132 mass shootings in the US since 1982, the shooter displayed prior signs of mental health problems. Again, an issue that touches to everyone's heart. You know, we see this rise of mass shootings in the US, and it's really so disturbing for us all. But again, in 17 out of the 132 cases, there were no signs of mental health issues. So it's not always about mental health. Up to 70% of the people referred to prevent may have mental health issues. Only a small minority of people with psychological illnesses are recorded and then act on their beliefs. The Center for Development of Security Excellence lists mental health as a concerning behavior in relation to insider threat. And talking about mental health, we cannot proceed with this presentation without talking about suicide rates, okay? So here we have some statistics, the suicide rates per 100,000 people, okay, per country, broken up between male and female. The percentages are truly staggering, especially where we see the steepest rise, the steepest percentage of suicide rates. South Africa, 37.6%. Chile, Ireland, Turkey, Antigua and Barbados, very low percent. Maybe we should all move there, guys. Huh? What do you think? But definitely something to think about. Suicide rates compared to the high levels of mental illness and mental health issues that also come from corporate environments, okay? The Office for National Statistics published suicide data for England. I will include this link. Anyone can see the information about the suicide rates. And the most staggering information here for me is that the males aged 45 to 49 continue to have the highest suicide rate, 23.8% out of 100,000 individuals. Again, what can we do to help? And this is where I really want to base today's discussion and presentation. We know mental health issues exist. We know someone in our environment, our work environment, our home, our family. What can we do to help though? And for me, this is the big question. So as Andrea said also in the introduction, I'm a member of the Global Board of Directors of ASIS. It's always very exciting and for me very inspiring to see ASIS provide a platform for support, the Mental Health and Wellness Working Group for ASIS Connects, and the messaging that we should all remember, guys. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to request and give help. Take care of your mental health, guys. Number one message of the day. And remember that there are many employee assistance programs that large corporations are providing these days. I work for Philip Morris International, and I'm so proud of the employee assistance programs that they have launched here at PMI. Also, some statistics for the organizations. Insure Life Solutions found a return of between $5.17 and $6.47 in increased work productivity for each dollar they spent on employee assistance programs. So here you see a clear ROI. The money put in these mental health programs in a corporate level, you see a clear return on that. A study involving the Australian Fire Service found that mental health training for managers led to real impact on work-related absence. The UK government's Thriving at Work highlighted a significant percentage of employers investing in mental health interventions. Okay, so these are ROIs. There are, of course, some concerns about employee assistance programs. Program that is also very dear to my heart, Security Minds Matters. Okay, hashtag Security Minds Matter. It's a project launched in 2021, UK-based, cross-industry, industry-led, but supported by the UK regulator SIA. I really urge everyone on the call, in this panel, in the Safety Gala, take a look and see how this can help support with mental health, okay? Please take a look at this website, Security Minds Matter, and see how you can also support your organizations today, okay?
Christina, 3 minutes left, please.
Thank you, Andrea, for this. So in closing, I just want to provide also the references and allow for a couple of minutes, Andrea, just to go through Q&A. Again, I want to thank everyone for their time today, for listening to this such important matter, and open the floor for the table and see if there's any questions, anything that you can do to help, or anything to ask me. But at the end of the day, the advice is simple. It's to manage with empathy, treat people and not as symptoms, and appoint mental health champions in the organization. Okay? Open for questions, Andrea.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Thank you. I'm using a very strong similarity, and I don't know if it is appropriate, but I would like to hear it from you, Christina. Is this a silent pandemic?
How well said, eh? A silent pandemic. Andrea, I could not have phrased it better, and thank you. Will you coin this term? It's a silent pandemic. We can see it rising. We can see people around us. We can see the rise in the employee assistance programs in the large organizations.
Sorry, Christina. Christina, please excuse me. There is something on your mic that is making a little bit of noise. I don't know, maybe you are moving some sheets or something like this.
Thank you. Sorry for this.
Okay.
Andrea, thank you for this. Indeed, the silent pandemic. I think we should be coining this term. You have said it so well, Andrea. And indeed, we see this rise. It's so troubling, but it is true. It is coming. It is hitting the organizations, the industries by force. And unless we do something about it, as I said, employee assistance programs, take out the stigma for mental health, welcome, approach, and reach out to manage. Each one of us can make a difference to manage our teams empathetically and to really make the question, are you okay? It's okay not to be okay. It is a silent pandemic, Andrea. Thank you for taking the time to listen to it. And please, as an individual and as an ambassador for mental health and a leading organization that I'm leading at this group, please reach out to me personally. I'd love to really be a sounding board for anyone on this panel, in this forum, and in the Safety Gala. Please remember, mental health is so important.
I think so, Christina, and it is very, very important, especially if we consider that this should be integrated within any kind of company culture. And since this panel is based on company culture, now we have a specific question for you that comes from the audience, which is Alexandra. Thank you very much. Do you recall any incident root cause analysis including mental health reason sent from Georgios TD? And this is a good one,
Okay.
Christina.
It's fantastic. You know what? I'll be honest. Personally, I was involved in an investigation very recently. It was post-pandemic, if you can say, a year and a half ago. Not with my current employer, of course, but speaking with the Lean-In organization and in the ASIS chapter, there was an incident where there was an act of a disgruntled employee that indeed caused some serious challenges to an organization. And the root cause was indeed a mental health issue. It had been addressed, but really ignored by this organization. And it led to a really bad escalation of behavior from an employee that really needed help, but it was a stigma to say that he needed help and to have the organization perhaps even address it, pay for it, and support the employee to go through it. So yes, indeed, it has been a root cause, and I think we will continue to see it being a root cause in investigations of incidents.
We have here another one from Konstantinos T, who says, Christina, thank you for the insightful presentation. Is there a connection between mental disorder and the return to work after an occupational accident, example PTSD? How should we deal with our coworkers after an incident?
I'm back.
Okay. Sina? Sina? Oh. Okay. And maybe we can wait a couple of seconds to see if Christina will be back. Otherwise, we will move on with our panel. Okay. By the way, let's move on with the next topic in the agenda, which is culture the key word? The speaker is Paolo Zambianchi, HSC Culture Projects and Training Coordinator at WeBuild. In this role, Paolo is in charge of new projects in terms of HSC, including innovation and new technologies, development of HSC culture, and coordination of HSC training. His most important activities are focused on a company safety leadership development program called Safety Builders, for which he's acting as a coordinator and senior facilitator of the program. His purpose is reaching zero accident or better, let his colleagues go back home healthier than they came at work, gets maximum benefit from their work. Oh, we have back Christina. I will finish the presentation of Paolo and then we will say goodbye, Christina. His purpose is reaching zero accident or better, let his colleague go back home healthier than they came at work, gets the maximum benefit from their work, taking care of the environment. This is the vision he had in the last 23 years of experience in construction, oil and gas in the industry sector, acting during these years as a trainer, safety officer, and safety specialist. He's a book and article writer and co-writer. He takes part in the Italian Working at Tight UNI standards and the Italian training guidelines. He's also an ambassador of an Italian safety cultural movement and self-development trainer. In his presentation, Paolo remembers us that the word culture is widely used in safety in many, many ways. Sometimes it is just an alibi to say zero is utopia because of culture. And I think, having met Paolo many, many years ago, that he has a completely different view from this. Paolo, the floor is yours, but before, thank you, Christina Alexandropoulou, for your intervention. And we will see very soon, I think. Ciao. Paolo,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Perfect, thank you very much. I'm going to share a presentation, but as you can see, I've chosen to have it on the screen back so you can see me and you can see at the same time my presentation. So I will share my screen, including audio. This is important, otherwise it can be a problem because it's embedded also a couple of videos. And that's it. Okay, perfect. You have seen the presentation, and I can see it as well. Perfect. So, is culture the key word? That's the question, because I think we are talking a lot about safety culture, and at least 50% of my time, but 50% of all colleagues in the QHSE department is talking about culture, and especially safety culture. And how many times do we talk about culture in safety? More or less, there are three key elements, which is the safety culture in itself, as a word it used a lot, the just culture with all the related items like knowledge culture, body culture, learning culture, and so on. And also in the last maybe 2 years, it came out also care culture. Of course, there could be a misleading because of the word care, but a lot of care culture is related to safety and also to retention of people and so on. And also I decided to take a look on trends, on statistics, using Google Trends, comparing just culture, safety culture, and care culture. As you can see in the last 5 years, there was always a focus on these three words, and especially in the last 2 years, there was a little bit more interest, sometimes for safety culture, sometimes for just culture, sometimes for care culture. So I can say we talk a lot about safety culture, but when do we start to talk a lot about safety culture? Maybe the word in itself, the marriage of safety and culture, it was used in some books and some publications, but the most accredited and the first time everyone agreed it was used, this word safety culture, it was after the Chernobyl accident. In the summary report on the post-accident review, it was written, organizations for safety culture contributed to the preventable tragedy. We can agree on this, I guess, but at the same time, it could be an alibi. Oh, sorry, we cannot get some standards in that place or in that country because of the culture that we have there. Or we cannot have this kind of performance, this KPI you're asking us, because here is different. Here, the culture is different. So many times it could be an alibi, but think about production. We are a construction company. We cannot accept to have a crooked wall instead of a straight wall. Or if you are an automotive, I don't think you can accept to have a car with 3 wheels instead of 4 wheels. So talking about production, even if sometimes I could agree, it's difficult, we cannot accept this kind of alibi. But of course, it's not just an alibi. Because if you look at the definition of safety culture in itself, you can find on the internet a lot of definitions about safety culture, but I decided to use the most accredited one, which is the one from HSE, the Britain National Regulatory for Workplace Health and Safety, which says that safety culture is a combination of attitudes, values, and perception that influence how something is actually done in the workplace rather than how it should be done. We can say the gap, Poor safety culture has contributed to many major accidents, and we saw the Chernobyl incident, and personal injuries, and can be just as influential on safety outcomes as an organization's safety management system itself. So maybe that's the reason why we spend at least 50% of our time talking about safety culture. That it means it's important, I guess. I think you could agree with this definition, but I wanted to go deeper. So I asked myself, okay, safety culture is an urgent word. I think everyone agreed on what does it mean safety. But at the same time, maybe we can have some thoughts, and we will have, but what about culture in itself? I think if we want to change a culture, if we want to measure it, if we want to test it, if you want to make a survey, whatever you want, you need to agree on what does it mean in itself culture. So I decided to find out the most accredited also this time definition of this, which is the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary definition of culture. Is the way of life of a people, including their attitudes, values and beliefs, art, science, modes of perception, and habits and of thought and activity. If you want something more mainstream, this is Wikipedia definition, is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior, institutions, and norms found in human society, as well as the knowledge, belief, art, those custom capabilities and habits of the individual in these groups. Culture is often originated from or attributed to a specific region or location. Some talk about Oriental culture, Western culture, Italian culture, Greek culture. So many times culture is related to the country, to the specific group of people. And of course, I think you can agree on this. But in 1966, Marvin Bauer from McKinsey, I think in his book that is called The Will to Manage, I think you get the point. Because he summarized very well all of what we see, which is culture is the way we do things around here. He wrote this sentence related to the corporate culture because his book is what it was around how you can build the corporate culture, how you can maintain the corporate culture, and so on, what this is about. But the way we do things around here. Think about what we saw, attitude, belief, perception, behavior of people, the way we do things around here. That is also the gap between how it should be done and how it actually done, okay? So the way we do things around here, it's a summary of what we are talking about. And also, Dylan Kennedy in 1982 built up what is called the Dylan Kennedy cultural model. They made a research, and at the end of this research, they said, if you want to build a corporate culture, if you want to improve it, if you want to maintain it, you need to take care of set of 6 interlocking elements, which are history, values and beliefs, rituals and ceremonies, stories, heroic figures, the cultural network. But remove the word corporate, remove the word company. Think about the culture in itself. Think about the country culture, your personal culture, the culture of your group of friends, the culture of your family. Isn't it around these 6 elements? It's not just about corporate culture, it's about creating a culture, in general speaking. So also the safety culture. So I decided to go deeper, talking about history, to go deeper and deeper, not just in days or in years, in centuries. And I decided to think about 2 other words that I found in OED. One is Greek, ethos, and one is Latin, mores. Ethos, the characteristic spirit, prevalent tone of sentiment of a people or a community, the genius of an institutional system. Is culture, isn't it? And the Latin version, more pragmatic. I'm from Italy, I'm Latin, so I will talk about the mores, the customs and behavior that are considered typical of a particular social group or community. The way we do things around here, which was the summary of what we saw before, talking about culture, talking about safety culture, and why we are always talking about group of people, country, region, family, group of friends. My company is always talking about group of people. Why do we talk about group of people? I prefer the Latin one, but let me talk about Greece. We are in a Greek environment. Of course, sometimes someone said this is from Seneca, this sentence, but it was for sure written in Aristotle Politics. He wrote, man is by nature a social animal. If you go back in our ancient history, we need to be in a group of people. It's called safety circle. It's called safety net. You need to be in a group of people to protect each other. And last year I talked about the reserve effect and the effect that can have also in your health, preventing cardiovascular diseases, or talking about mental health, how you can protect each other by taking care of each other. That's care culture, no? So we are social animals. Absolutely we are. And why we are social animals? I mentioned it, the safety circle, but if you look at our basic needs, our hierarchy of needs, according to psychologist Maslow, you can easily see that after psychological needs, which are just having food, water, to sleep, you can have, and you think about your safety needs, personal security. And of course, you cannot protect yourself. You cannot trust just on yourself. You need to sleep as well. So our Asians protect themselves by living in a group of people. The employment, you work in a company, resources, health, property. So it's always a matter of a group of people. If you want to take care of your safety needs, and this is the thought about the word safety itself, we don't think sometimes of the impact on Maslow pyramid on our work, which is safety. And how it is important for people. Sometimes the people tend to think about safety as a boring stuff. Even if, according to the Maslow pyramid, it's something really, really important. So I decided to use a video that I think it can really summarize what we saw so far. Because safety is made by human beings and their interaction. So that's the reason why I decided to use this video that summarizes all of what we see so far.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by. Those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here. The people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow. The religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde i rummet var klassens klovn? Hvem er bonusforældre?
And then suddenly, there's us. We who believe in life after death. We who've seen UFOs. And all of us who love to dance. We who've been bullied. And we who've bullied others. And then there's us, the lucky ones who've had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual. And we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life. And we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think. TV2 Denmark. All that we share.
This is a commercial on television. But think about culture, attitudes, beliefs, perception. is not influenced by emotion and feelings. There is something that we share. Don't you think it's important to work on values, to work on something that people can easily share? Everybody, even if we've got people from different environment, think about ourselves. We are a multicultural company, but I think you work as well in a multicultural company, or even if you work in a small company, there are people from different ages, different gender, different salary. We are all different. And we are lucky for this. But at the same time, we tend to forget how close we are if we share the same values. And I think can we create a culture just by defining common effective rules? Maybe some of you could say, okay, yes, it can be. Some others, because are common effective, maybe shared, something missing here, shared values and not rules. Also because sometimes the rule can challenge the values. What if the rules challenges the values? Christopher Cersei was playing basketball with his friends when he was shot in the chest. And the bullet perforated his aorta. His friend left him 40 feet outside Reassessing Hospital in Chicago. And then he shouted for help and leave. He was afraid, he was scared to have some problem because of this situation. The hospital staff saw Christopher, but he refused. The hospital staff refused to have Christopher saying that it was against the hospital policy, the hospital rule. That it was a good policy for an hygiene point of view. You cannot take some jet inside the hospital for a safety and security point of view. But it was against the policy to administer aid to those outside the hospital, so they just called an ambulance. After a few minutes, the policeman was able to get a wheelchair and wheel Christopher inside the hospital, but it was late. Christopher died. And the day after, on the journal, it was written, teen dies at hands of hospital policy. Even if the rules are effective, good rules, sometimes it can be against our values. So I think we need to think about when we establish a new rule, is it correct for our values? It is shared from a value point of view. And of course, Peter Drucker, that is here, will say, if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. That's a famous quote. And it's true. Okay, perfect. But if you look on the internet, if you ask to your consultants, how we
Paolo, please excuse me, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes, perfect. How you can measure a safety culture? You can find out on the internet, on your consultants, a lot of different psychometric surveys. You can take a look on the lagging indicator, indicator, and it works. But at the same time, I want to be disruptive. How about love? And that's the reason why inside our campaign, which is called Value, which embrace people and their values, that is our health and safety way, we take care always on emotional feelings of people, and we tend to focus ourselves, of course, on leading lagging indicator, talking about laws, we are back to Aristotle, which are evidence, consistency, that it work, also ethos, being credible and trustworthy, but at the same time, don't lose the opportunity and don't forget to use pathos. This is my last video, and then I will close with just a couple of quotes.
Quina hauria de ser la xifra aquest any?
100, no sé, uns 200...
Un 20, un 25%.
Home, comparativament, doncs...
Jo crec que baixar als 200 seria un gran èxit.
Com a mínim hauríem de baixar a la meitat.
100 persones.
150. Si poguéssim arribar a 100...
Seria una baixada important.
Per sota dels 200.
I si jo et digués que només hi hauria 3 morts?
3? Doncs molt poques, la veritat.
Exageradament baixa.
Serien molt bones notícies.
Estaria molt bé.
Doncs ara mateix ho veig impossible.
No m'ho crec.
Ojalà. Seria la millor notícia possible, no?
Seria una molt boníssima xifra.
Estaria contenta, perquè creuria que són poques. Perfecte.
De fàbula.
Al·lucinant.
Seria una passada.
I si fossin aquests 3?
Vols que li donem una abraçada al Tepi? Una abraçada!
Qui són?
El meu home i els meus fills.
Que no tenia cap nom.
La meva dona i els meus fills.
Qui seria?
Meus amigues.
La meva família.
Els meus fills.
La meva dona i els meus fills.
La meva filla i la meva dona.
Els meus fills i la meva dona.
La meva neta.
La meva filla i el meu marit.
Ai, no. Aquests noms són els meus nets.
No el papagai!
La meva germana. Em moro.
Quina creus que hauria de ser la xifra?
La resposta és 0. 0.
Tindria que ser 0.
0.
0.
0.
El número ideal és el 0. Sempre ha de ser 0.
Víctimes, 0.
0.
Cap ni una.
0. 0, 0.
Tots tenim família. A la carretera, Víctimes 0. Generalitat de Catalunya.
We did reduce our number of accidents. 2022 against 2012, we reduced 80% of our accidents and our injuries rates. But this is not enough. We want to reach zero as soon as we can. And this is a disruptive, apologize me, intervention. But I wanted just to let you rethink about safety culture, reshaping, reassessing, and so on. Remember always that people hear you on the level you speak to them from. Speak from your heart, and they will hear with theirs. And also, you can speak well if your tongue can deliver the message of your heart. Thank you for your time, your listening, your energy, your passion, and what you can do about safety every day. So thank you for this. If you want to remain connected, these are all my connections just to share ideas, thoughts, and so on. So thank you very much. And if there is any question, I could be more than happy to answer it. If I can switch off. Okay, I need to close.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you. As usual, this last video you showed us, it moves me every time. It's like a ballad in my head. It's something crazy, really. Okay, let's move on with the next speech. Paolo, you will stay with us for the final Q&A session, please. So feel free to ask Paolo whatever you want about his presentation, and also I think their program that we built, their safety culture program. And now it's the turn of my friend and colleague Alessandro Fanfoni from SNAM. He joined Stogit, which is a subsidiary of SNAM and the leading European player in gas storage in 2015 as HSE supervisor for the construction and commissioning phases of the new Bordolano gas storage facility. Since August 2020, he's a member of the SNAM corporate HSE department, and as a specialist, he provides health and safety support and coordination services to all subsidiaries of SNAM. Among the other, he is in charge for the management of the GNL Italia risk assessment document, of the training management process, and for providing QHSE support for national and international business development projects. Moreover, he is one of the team leaders of the Lean projects for the optimization of the permit to work system at SNAM and its 10 subsidiaries, and member of the PMO integration team for SNAM FSRU Italia. Alessandro will tell us about the journey that SNAM started in 2018 to enhance and sustain its safety culture, both for SNAM and contractors workers, moving from a dependent stage toward an interdependent stage under the Bradley curve. And we will see during the presentation of Alessandro what is the Bradley curve. He will drive us from the theoretical view of the design to the effective implementation of a specific program based on several drivers and project streams. Safety is a choice, and to make this choice, we need leadership, commitment, resources, metrics, and tailored route. Alessandro, please tell us something more about SNAM for Safety program. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Can you see my screen, Andrea?
Confirm.
Okay, thank you. Before starting my presentation, let me thank everyone for attending this event and the Management Force Group for inviting me also this year. I'm glad to share with you our program that is aimed to enhance and strengthen the safety culture for our workforce and our contractor. So I would like to start with an overview of our company for those who don't know us and on our main business area. Basically, Snam Group made by 4 different main company divided into 3 main business stream. Snam is the main Italian natural gas infrastructure operator, and the different company is Snam Rete Gas, the Italian leader gas transmission player with around about 30,000 kilometer pipeline, 8 supervisory and controlling district, and around 50 maintenance center. Then there is Stogit, the gas storage business. Then the last but not the least main areas, main core business is the regasification with GNL Italia that operates a regasification plant in Liguria, and with the recently installed FSRU in Tuscany by Snam FSRU Italia. We are present abroad in a country like Albania, Austria, France, Greek, Switzerland, UK, and we operate also in not regular business in the field of energy transition, such as energy efficiency, biomethane production, and mobility. This slide summarizes our core values that are we connect to build opportunity, we support the changing world, we shape the future, and the last but not the least, we promote safety. This will turn into our mission that can be resumed in one sentence. And this sentence is we are committed to act in the right way and to ensure the safety. Why we act to ensure the safety? We act for continuous improvement every day, and we want to ensure the safety because for Snam, safety is a value that impact not just our everyone's professional life, but also our personal life. Let me highlight that consider safety a value and not a priority. And since value are intimate and inherent and does not change with time like priority do. What are our safety value and vision? We promote safety because for Snam, safety is important at the same level, both Snam worker and people and contractor worker, and we care. Snam top management commitment is to communicate the safety value and share a relevant event that occurred within the company, trying to enhance and share the passion for safety, promoting and empowering the contribution of Snam people toward the goal of zero accident. Let me recap just a bit of history before entering into data. As you might remember from my last year presentation, and as Andrea told before, in 2018, we started a collaboration with a consultancy company that helped us to perform a safety assessment, a safety culture assessment. After the assessment, we understood that our worker and all our contractor or main contractor were in a dependent cultural state under the DuPont-Bradley curve. What does it mean? This means that in our culture, safety was based on management commitment, rules, training, and awareness. And in this stage, in this cultural state, the main motivation for safety comes from supervision and manager. And if you ask it to an employee, he may say, I follow the rules because I have to. The reason is not inherent, but based on an external reason, like a compliance to law or procedure, protocol, rules, and etc. The site, one can say is it a good result? We knew this was not sufficient in our view, and we decided to start like a journey program, the SNAM for Safety project, to increase to implement the safety culture to move to the interdependent stage. That is where people take care of each other, or where employees will see the value of following safe work practice and will follow this practice for an internal reason and for an internal commitment. We think that this group believes and know that zero incident is possible, and it's a choice that all of us we need to do. It is worth to highlight that we decide to sustain the safety culture in many ways. Probably there isn't and just only way, but we will see after some activities and initiative that we are developing, and this is program called SNAM for Safety project. As I said, it's a journey, and indeed nowadays we are still working on two main areas. There are that are culture and behavior and contractor management. Culture and behavior with the goal of ensuring greater consistency between different departments on function, influencing behavior and decision. And the last main area, the other main area is the contractor management to ensure more effective application of SNAM requirement and to reinforce the work site control and the safety culture in our workplace. What are we doing is SNAM to strengthen the safety culture? This project, the SNAM for Safety project, is made by several initiatives from the introduction of dedicated safety moment to the gathering of safety observation and near miss, to sustain this shit in company culture. We develop with the help of an external provider, one of the most important external provider in Italy in this sector, dedicated training path and coaching that is called Leadership in Health and Safety. And this training and safety are fundamental to prepare the baseline of the company for the activities of the Safety Expert Pool, SEP. This is a new unit that has been created on the purpose to reinforce the safety culture, in particular in our contractor, in our workplace, and in our construction site. And engagement of both SNAM and contractor workforce is sustained with soft tools like a safety trophy. And we have recently adopted but customized on our need 10 golden safety rules. Okay, now I will go through some of these elements, and I want to start with an example of safety moment, and I would like to share my personal experience on one of the most important business social media platform. I would like to share this popular post with more than 100 likes and created by a big Italian company with more than 1,000 followers. Basically, this post advertising a pedometer app to motivate and the people, and the three hashtags included in the post caption were well-being, people care, and workplace health promotion. At the first time, I remember thinking that was a really beautiful idea. Now we have a similar app, and it's important to see how more and more companies take care of people well-being. At the same time, I asked myself, was this the best photo to advertise an app to promote employees' well-being? What are the message of this photo and of this post and its photo? I think probably no. The photo shows us a girl who is using a phone while walking the stair. And I ask me if this is a safe act. I think no. I think that the communication is one of a key element to improve our safety culture, and just would like to invite everyone to pay attention to our message, especially when we are publishing on social media, and when, in addition to verbal and paraverbal language, we also use a visual message. Moving into data, it's important to recall Deming and Paolo that say you can't manage what you can measure. Paolo say you can't improve what you can measure, but the concept is the same. That's why we gather data about safety, and the main data to analyze to change safety culture can be summarized in the safety pyramid, the hierarchy pyramid, and what this pyramid show us. It show a relationship between the fatalities on the top of the pyramid, the minor ones, and the near miss. And basically, the idea that is behind the hierarchy pyramid is that if you can reduce an unsafe act or condition and near miss, so the base of the pyramid decrease, you can decrease likelihood of the fatalities. So leadership role in promoting the identification of risk situation and measuring it is a key factor in reducing the worst outcomes and to increase the safety culture. So we start to track and manage the safety observation, the act and the unsafe act and condition, and we divide the observation ambit in two main areas: the action, so the reaction of people, the position, and the condition, so tools and equipment and structure, work areas, etc. And what we do to track and manage this safety observation. Last year, I told you that we created a new app, and we developed a new app for safety observation. I show you the screenshot, the dashboard of our app, and in this slide, I show us our number of 2022 and what our target or in 2023. Other important data that we need to track is the near miss, and this is our number in our dashboard and in our app. We can see and we can track all internal and external near miss divided into hypo near miss and no hypo near miss. And in this slide, I show you our number. So in target with the 2022 and the target of 2023.
Alessandro, excuse me, 3 minutes left.
Okay, Andrea. Another main activities is that SNAM has created a new unit with the aim of increasing people perceived safety leadership in the construction contractor. This new company unit is made up of people with extensive EPC experience, and their main activity is promote and participate in a site visit with the involvement of other safety coordinator and construction manager, promotes and participate in a meeting with contractor, participate in the analysis of injuries and near miss of contractor, and support the contractor manager and supply chain through the feedback on contractor. In this slide, I show you our number and the number of this unit, the 2022 target and 2023 target. The last but not the least activity is the safety trophy. We have different trophy. We have the first one, the operational business unit safety trophy. We have a corporate business unit safety trophy. We have a safety trophy dedicated on contractor. And the last but not the least trophy is the operational business unit zero injury trophies. In the slide, I report to you the participant, the parameters that we track and manage, and who is the winner and what the winner give. Thanks for your attention, and feel free to ask me any question or information or clarification.
Okay. Thank you, Alessandro, for your presentation.
Thank you, Andrea.
I think we have a problem with the video here. Don't know. Okay, let's go ahead. Now it's the turn, let's say, for the Q&A session. So I have a personal question to Alessandro and Paolo. And guys, we met each other a few years ago. We made several projects together in different companies and so on and so forth. I have a question for you, which is related more to the possibility to apply this kind of project to all companies. So I'd like to know, is it feasible? Is it possible to apply this kind of project everywhere, or we need to have, can say, some cares in doing that? We need to pay attention to some elements in doing that. Paolo.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I think it's always a matter of, I talked about surveys and so on. Of course, we need surveys and as well, but I think you need time to go deeper, as I like to inside the culture that you find out in that place. I'm going to go in Ethiopia, for example, in a couple of weeks, and teaching to some facilitator how they can facilitate our leadership program, safety leadership program. But of course, I start always this kind of training by asking them what is the culture around here, the way you do things around here. And it's always tough to merge how the thing is done on how it should be done. We have, I talked about our statistics, we have some very good statistics in our company, but in some countries, some places, it's tough to reach some KPIs, so to have some results. And of course, many times we don't tend to think how we can adapt our strategy to the culture we found there. We tend to create the same procedure for everywhere, but sometimes we need to take care of the culture we found, and we need to adapt something. Nowadays, we talk a lot about resilience, and I think it's a matter of resilience as well. It's a matter of finding the way in which we can have the results by finding another way. We are Italians, sometimes we find out the way in which we don't respect the rule. In this case, we need to find out the way in which we can let the people respect the rule. The people want to respect the rule. So that's the main idea, I guess. I don't know if I answered your question.
I have to say that I agree with you, because it's let's say it's something that we need somehow to customize, to the kind of culture and environment that we have in front of us. I would like to hear from Alessandro also what he's saying about that. Alessandro, can we apply this kind of project everywhere, or we need to pay attention to some elements?
Okay, it is possible. Yes, of course, it is easy, not too much. This program is feasible within other company context as long as it is customized according to the company. And I think that for a correct prices and timely application and identification of the most suitable tools and instruments, it is very important and essential to conduct an assessment to measure the level of safety culture. How we can do this assessment? Thanks to survey, thanks to intervistation, thanks to site visit. And I think that then commitment from top management and engagement at all levels of the organization will be fundamental. Only through the full engagement of everyone, we can hope that people feel responsibility for safety and feel like a real safety leader.
Thank you, Alessandro. We have also another question that is, what is the importance of leadership commitment in this kind of project? How about the engagement of the workforce? How can we involve them? I think it's a wide question. Let's say it's very hard to reply in very short time, but Paolo and Alessandro, if you can provide your view, and this is the last question for this panel.
Let's say we are always talking about the same items, like did my example, organized safety moment, and so on. But sometimes, as also Alessandro showed us, we forgot what we are talking about really, like using a photo of a person on a stairs while watching the smartphone, or maybe we are more taking care of how beautiful it is, this communication campaign, instead of how effective it is, or talking about leading by example many times, also in environment like Canada or Australia, in which they are really safety oriented, they're always focused on safety. They tend to forget how important it is to lead by example, also in small terms, like we made this example, and I think you made the same in your leadership program. You exceed the speed limit, sometimes it can happen, but think about, if you have your children on board, what is the message you are saying to your children? It's not just because it's a risky situation for your children, but you are saying to your children, listen, there is a rule, but I don't respect the rule. But remember to respect the rule. So there's something wrong in here. And many, many times also reading safety environments, it's easy to lose the focus on these, how important it is, starting by the manager to lead by example in many different ways, focusing always on what's the message here.
Thanks, Paolo. Alessandro, in 30 seconds, please.
Okay, in 30 seconds, apart from what we have already said about leadership, I think that is absolutely crucial, the engagement of the workforce and how can we involve them. We need to find new, more stimulating and more interactive activities. We cannot rely only on usual training methodology, but we need to make this more interactive. I think that this can be done with the coaching approach, for example. And finally, if then we are able to make available soft tools and apps that are easy and intuitive to use to support the process, this would help a lot. Anyway, as you said at the beginning, there is not a unique way. We need to implement the tailored action as a function of a work environment.
Thank you, Alessandro, and thank you everyone for the participation to this panel. I find it really stimulating because we start from a philosophical view and we move to a more practical approach, and we have seen that many recipes are available to deal with safety culture. There is no the right one. We have many ways to improve our safety culture at work and also at home, I believe. I hope to see you very soon. Thank you for participating. And now, after a short break, we will have the final table, the final round table with our distinguished guest and moderated by José de la Torre Gallego. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.